in a couple of seconds. We'll give people a few minutes to hop in. I will post this on Discord. Just a sec. Okay. Couple people in chat now. Corlethiel's here. Roblox.
Where's is it creators post? So I want to
Yeah,
quickly check.
creators post, yeah. Or creators
in as well.
content channel, sorry.
Creators content. Okay. So many channels.
Yeah.
Still learning to navigate the Discord.
Yeah, and it changes over time too. Like Elias is, I think Elias is the one who like handles a lot of it, and whenever he's feeling rambunctious, he goes and moves stuff around and whatnot. But yeah, before like there was just I'm pretty sure before there was just the creators content channel, but then like a lot of people they started adding a lot more content creators, quote unquote, and they were just like posting a bunch of like Twitter links, and then in the I don't know how much I want to get into it, but like a lot of the Twitter posts are just like, "Hey, I fished today." You know, it wasn't like a lot of like actual gameplay or so like they made a separate channel for it specifically for.
I actually can't find the channel in the Discord. I don't even know if I can see it. Do you want to just link me?
Yeah, I'll just link it to you
in our chat.
Yeah. It's probably one of like the hidden channels. You know how like you actually have to like manually add all the channels.
I can see that.
Yeah. Like I don't have all the channels listed either, especially if like like I don't know, there's so many, especially like all the international channels and whatnot. There's just so many. But yeah, anyways, so you had said that you were
I don't have all. Sorry.
Oh, yeah, no problem.
Yeah. All right. All good now.
Yeah, so you said that you've been playing. You started hopping into Sunflower Land like a couple weeks before like actually officially starting your role. So like I guess that's probably what 3 weeks ago now.
Yeah, I think it's close to a month actually.
Okay.
I've been sort of slowly playing since I first started interviewing, just trying to get a handle on the game.
Yeah, and you said you don't know your farm ID, but you do know your in-game name. What is it?
Yes, it is None for Some. I'll put it in our chat as well.
So I found it.
Yeah, there we go.
Okay, I'll follow you here. Let's go look at your island. Still pretty early on.
Yeah, I only just got to Petal Paradise.
Okay, so yeah, you're on the second island.
Taking it slow.
Petal Paradise. It's funny because like the names for the islands have switched over time. Before this one was called Spring Island, but then like I was like one of the people who were like, why are we calling it Spring Island when the first island is always in spring? So we should switch the names of them. So like now I'm just at the point where I just call it the first, second, third, and fourth island basically.
Yeah, I'm on the second one. I'm no longer on Corn Island as everyone else refers to it.
Yeah. And you're enjoying things so far?
Yeah, I really enjoy like just how low touch it is.
Yeah.
And consequently I spend a lot more time on it than I mean to.
Yeah.
It doesn't demand too much of me, which is a very nice design paradigm. You don't see a lot of it in this space.
Yeah, there's a lot of discussion in the community whether we should have more or less. Like as someone who makes content and streams the game, one of my complaints or feedback, and like this is like I said, is more specific to me, is that I would actually like more stuff to do because like I wanted to stream the game, but I found myself just like doing my daily stuff and like all the deliveries and mini games and digging and whatnot. And I was done everything in like 15 to 20 minutes, and then I didn't really have that much to do anymore. And that's a good and a bad thing, right? Like you said, you can just hop in for 5 minutes, plant your crops, chop your trees, and then be on your way for the next couple hours without missing much. But on the other hand, like if people do want to do more, they don't really have an option to. Like I guess you could plant sunflowers all day or whatever, but it's not really like that much you can do.
Yeah, and that is a decision that would be in tension. If you were to increase the amount of things that a player could do, then you would start to also increase the demand on them to do those things.
Yeah.
So the game would consequently get a little bit less comfortable in that way.
Yeah.
And it would definitely be better for the content creator types in like the ultra hardcore, but it might be a lot more difficult for a new user to get into if it was making that much more of a demand on your time.
Obviously,
So
no, go ahead.
yes, yeah.
Sorry, no, go ahead.
Well, I am interested in like ways to make more loops within the rather let's say that like the current SFL loop is like 2 hours long. You know, you log in every time to cut your trees.
Yeah.
That's just been my basic experience right now. Is that's the shortest long timer that you have.
Yeah.
You know, I would be interested in ways that there could be an hour loop and a 10-minute loop and a 1 minute loop
Yeah, I mean,
within that.
there definitely are, depending on what boost you have, right? Like, so,
Yeah,
like one of the, like you said, the tree loop is the shortest one that you're aware of. But like, if you get one of the beaver items, like apprentice beaver or foreman beaver, that cuts it down to an hour. And then there's like
yeah.
skills that reduce it even more. So then I think my trees are at like 54 minutes or something like that. So there are ways to get that loop lower than an hour. And
Hmm.
maybe I'm sure that everything's still super early on in production, but Project Two could maybe fill that gap to some extent, right? Like I'm not, I've heard it sounds like it's going to be more of like a Pokemon style game, um, and that could, like I said, once you're done planting all your crops and whatnot in Sunflower Land, like that could be an option to fill the time in between the next time you have to chop your trees or whatnot.
Yeah, that's a really good observation. Yes, it's a creature collector. Let's not call it
Sure.
Big N.
Okay. Yeah.
Um, the Nintendo Ninjas on my head, but yes,
Yeah.
yeah, that's definitely a big inspiration for us. Is the classics, um, and yeah, that would be much better suited to a 15-minute loop game or a 10-minute loop game where you're doing some fairly intense combats
Yeah.
5 or 6 times, and then you can take a little break to check your Sunflower Land plot, and then come back to the combats or the growing your creatures or all of those things that may or may not be in that project as it's very early.
Yeah, yeah. We've Adam's shown like he's posted like some screenshots on Twitter, and he's
Mm,
shown some of that stuff on like the Friday Twitch streams that you guys do. Um, so he's been talking about working with the original, um, the guy who did the original art project, Diggle, I think his name is, um, for
Daniel.
the for the Sunflower Land art inspiration. Um, so yeah, he's showing off some of the stuff. So it does look like it's going to be like a creature collecting game, and maybe like an auto
Yeah.
battler or something like that. Um, yeah. On that topic, have you? It's kind of like a two-part question. Have you played any other Web3 games, and more specifically, because Project Two sounds like it's going to be some sort of creature collection game. Have you seen Spellborn? Because that's another creature collection game in the Web3 space that I'm aware of.
I haven't. It's Spellborn, is it called?
Yeah.
Spellborn. I'm
Um,
gonna look this one up. Web3. So have I played any other Web3 games? Well, obviously I previously worked on Gods Unchained, so I played
yeah.
that every
Yeah.
single day for 4 years. But what also in my role at job, I would play lots of Web3 games because they had a platform, that company. So I would play a lot of the games that were trying to come onto that platform, come onto the chain, and utilize their tools. So I would have played hundreds, but seriously played. I was playing Project O, which is a fantastic card game.
Okay.
Um, Sort of aware of quite a few other farming games. Nomstead is one that I think has some like really cool mechanics that I think we could maybe quietly steal for one of these chapters coming up as well. If you've ever heard of Nomstead.
No.
Um, what else? I remember I played one really, never took off, so I don't know if you know it, but a really cool. Uh, how do I explain the systems for this game? I don't know what genre is in it. You would play as a truck in the apocalypse mowing down zombies,
Okay.
and the little like sort of chibi dudes you had manning your truck were tradable NFTs, as well as all of the things on your truck were tradable NFTs. So you're building like a war rig for these zombies that you'd stop and trade with other players in that game as well. And I'm not sure if it ever got completed, but it was one of the most fun things that came through that pipeline. It was a game out of Korea.
Okay.
So yeah, I'm sort of semi-familiar with the space in my own way, but
Yeah.
more as a dev than as a consumer because I would often be playing other devs' games and treating them like that and be like, oh, you could change this.
Yeah.
Shardbound, that was another game that I thought was really well put together and polished, but maybe a little bit too tactical for the space. Yeah.
Okay. I don't know if you have the stream pulled up, but this is Spellborn. I played it for a bit months
I'm
ago.
just seeing your yeah. You got a delay on, do you?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I don't know how YouTube works fully, but it should be up in a second. Um,
Yeah.
but this is Spellborn essentially. I don't play it much anymore, but
Hmm.
like there's like these creatures in the grass. You have your, I don't know what they're called, but you have your monsters or whatever, and yeah, you could
Mm.
fight them and whatnot. It, I'm sure they do things good and bad. Like I said, I don't play it much anymore, but I'm out of energy with this character, whatever. But
It looks beautiful.
yeah, it just wanted to point it out just so that you're aware
Oh,
of it
nice.
and that you could find good things, bad things, and take inspiration from it one way or the other. Um,
Yeah, I'll definitely check it out. It's a great call out. I'm always looking for other games like this. I've been going back and playing the classics as well as I start working on Project 2. So I've been playing Monster Rancher,
okay.
um, and then some more new ones like Cassette Beasts was recommended, as well as Beastly Ball and Temtem, like more mainstream creature collector games. But
I,
Monster Rancher has a very special place in my heart
yeah,
as
I
like a
can't believe you
very
call that Monster Rancher. My
weird,
girlfriend and I were talking about that
old.
like 2 months ago. I had
Yeah,
like a Monster Rancher game for like PlayStation 1, I think, and
yeah,
I
that was it.
love
That was when it was a thing.
yeah, I loved Monster Rancher. Like that's pretty niche though, right there. Like that was not a lot of people played Monster Rancher. I'm sure.
It has some great systems, and I think they could work for Project 2. So,
Yeah,
yeah, but yeah,
I loved the game back in the day.
you know,
Um, so talking about like Web3, like why did you get into Web3? Like you've talked about being like a big gamer over the years, and
mm,
as you probably know, Web3 like is kind of frowned upon amongst gamers in general.
absolutely. Yeah,
It's
and
not
other
like
devs.
yeah, it's not like a lot of um people really like enjoy like I like it for various reasons that apply to me, but like why did you decide to get into the Web3 space rather than just being like a dev at like any other game studio?
Well, it was a practical choice originally, so there's not a lot of games work going on in Sydney, and there was a job going on a card game, and I have played a lot of card games, and I feel like card games, like, especially trading card games, are just a very like a natural fit for Web3. The trading element makes so much sense, so they should just be like a slam dunk. Like Hearthstone with tradable cards should be a slam dunk. But as I started working in the space more, I became very interested in the emotional content of the games that you can make. Like I do believe that a lot of people in this space talk about it's going to go mainstream even still, even after 7 years, and I don't know if that's the case. It would probably just continue to be an ever expanding popular niche because it appeals to certain kinds of people who care a lot about the assets that they have, and it really helps reinforce that. And I feel like people in this space, a lot of people have either not had the imagination or the basically the balls to take risks with it, because I think that being able to lose something that you really care about, an asset in the game that you really care about, makes the games inherently more interesting to a certain kind of player. And a lot of people, especially designers in that space, have used that to talk about like extraction shooters and things like that, where you're about to extract with an item worth $100, and yeah, maybe that's cool, but more likely that's just going to be riddled with cheaters.
Hmm.
But with the social element of comes in games that are more like Eve Online, where you have assets that are worth a lot of just time and effort from a group of people that are at risk, is very, very interesting. And you can then have a reason to band together to extract these resources, or to band together and take these resources from other players. Those PvP elements continue to really interest me. I'm going to call out another deep cut. I'm going to doubt anyone's ever heard of this, but there was an MMO in the early, like mid 2000s, a German one called Face of Mankind. It was well before crypto was even a thing. But they essentially had almost functional permadeath, and you would play in this like corporate system of factions where it was a shooter, but it was like statistics based, so like a little bit RPG ish. And the emergent gameplay that came out of that, out of really, really not wanting to get caught with like assets that were forbidden in a certain area, or not wanting to have to actually go to space prison for 8 hours and have to do a chore, made the game really intense. It also made it really niche. So that was a tension there. Yeah, that was a bit of a ramble, but
No,
basically,
yeah.
I'm still always very interested in the way people bond to their NFTs and the way they care a lot about their assets as a driving motivation for these games.
So those like permadeath games that you were talking about, those like you said was before crypto time. So like you the only thing you had to lose there was time, right? Like
Yes.
you like there was no actual monetary value. If you tie in the thought of losing something with the monetary value, like
Mm.
time plus the monetary value, that would be like a niche within a niche though, right? Like it would be a very small subset of players that would probably gravitate towards something like that.
Yeah, absolutely. And I'm not out here pushing those games and those ideas forward for everyone.
Sure.
They can be parts of those systems. Again, like you say it's a niche within a niche, but EVE Online's been going for 20 years, and it's had that system because you could make a mental conversion between the cost for game time to their in-game currency.
Yeah.
People were able to pretty easily draw a line between that and like dollar value of assets lost. And people in that game would say that they lost thousands of thousands of dollars, but they have a nice system where there are increasing levels of security in the game. So if you're in the middle of the game, you're pretty unlikely to lose everything, like very, very unlikely because it's very punitive. You go a little bit further out, then there's more risk, and then you go further out into null security, and you're very likely to lose stuff when you're out there.
Yeah.
And it's quite an emotional gamble. And I think those kind of systems can work well on the extreme end, the niche end of Web3. But then Sunflower Land and these more casual farming games, the emotion's different again. It's just, I think, an amazing way to make you feel like you're not wasting your time, because a lot of like Farmville, everyone played it in the 2010s. Even I
Yeah.
played Farmville in 2010s, and they would use all of these dark pattern psychologies to get you logging in, microtransacting and whatnot, and give you nothing in return
Yeah.
except for like some social status in your farm bill. And Web3 games, we don't have to do any of that evil stuff. People want to come back because they can perceive some kind of value in what they're doing, even if it's fractional to like the hours in versus perceived value out. We just don't have to go down some of those dark pattern psychology routes, because people are already just enjoying what they're doing anyway and feel like they're not wasting their time.
Yeah, yeah. It's you're not gonna like a lot of people when they come into Discord, they're like, "How do I make money?" And a lot of people like a lot of like longer term players are always like, "Get a job," because like
Yeah,
that's always going to be
that's
the
good
answer
advice.
because like you're never going to make more money playing a game than you would if you were just like working a job. Or else like the game probably just won't succeed. If they're paying you out a stupid amount of money, then like it's not
Yeah.
sustainable. Like it's going to be fractional, but like it's still something, right?
Yeah,
Um,
and if you are an incredibly skilled trader, then you can sort of
sure.
make the game into your lifestyle if you want to. I personally would not want to do that. I feel like that's a very demanding thing to do and very dependent.
Yeah.
And you call out something good there, which is that if the game is successful along those lines, it's a bit of a cursed success because you'll start to just attract extractive players. And
Yeah.
in this space, a lot of people go like, "Oh, these extractors," but you got to understand that they're doing what the system encourages them to do at that
Exactly.
point. There's a
Yeah.
great system design heuristics of the purpose of a system is what it does, and if you are providing outsized value to someone running a sweatshop, then that is the function of your game, and you will tank your game from that point. And I think
Yeah.
Sunflower Land's been very good about sidestepping all of that by keeping the focus on the game, and just having the Web3 elements be like a really positive sweetener for everyone. And I think that's the perfect space for it. And it's a
Mm,
great use of the technology.
yeah. So like to tie into like parts of that, like we had talked about like the technology being implemented into games like this. So do you? It's like a two-part question. One, why do you think like Web3 is better, or like do you think Web3 is better than a system? I don't know if you've played Counter Strike, but Counter Strike also has
Mm.
some sort of ownership in that you can own skins, buy skins, sell skins, And then two,
Yeah,
like, do
very.
you think like the whole like Web3 element would work for any type of game, or do you think like some type of games like it shouldn't exist in, and like certain games would be better like without any types of ownership? Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Is it better? Better for who? Like,
Like
uh,
the
no. So this
players.
is me rhetorically answering the
Yeah.
question because the Counter Strike system is definitely better for Valve. They are
Yeah.
super happy with their
Yeah.
market monopoly, whereas the blockchain system, yeah, it's definitely better for the end user, and it's also um, more useful for a smaller company to be on the blockchain because we can reward users from anywhere in a generic currency with by sidestepping like local laws essentially. You know, if you have a tournament winner or a prize you want to give out that has some sort of value and you want to give it to a player who is playing from behind like the Iranian firewall or whatever, and you're trying to give them USD, you might get them in a lot of trouble giving them that, whereas
Yeah.
crypto is much more useful in that state. So I love those egalitarian aspects of it where I can just say I can treat my players from anywhere, whether they're from the Philippines, the US, Australia, if they're playing from the Antarctic base, whatever. I can treat them all the same. I can reward them in the same currency. Creates a lot less overhead for us, and it creates a lot more equality in that sense. So I think the blockchain systems are better for players in that way. Um, what was the second part of the question? Should it be in every game?
Or like
I would say
every
definitely.
genre of game. Like, are there any genres
Yeah.
of games that you think like it should not exist in, or
Yeah, yeah. I mean, I saw someone try to make NFT chess, and I was just like, you're just fishing for investor money there.
yeah,
It works well in games that naturally suit an asset-based economy. It's an economic feature. Some people really, really enjoy playing in markets. I'm one of them.
yeah,
Like trading is an interesting activity. Forecasting the market is an interesting activity. And tokenomics themselves inside markets are interesting activities. So it's great in those. But if you don't have an inventory system, if you don't have a gear system, or worse, if you're bolting like one on just to run NFTs, just to
yeah,
run blockchain design, then I don't think that's a good fit. Classic games, tic tac toe NFTs isn't going to work.
yeah.
That's just yeah.
I mean,
Somebody
you could have
wants to.
skins if you really cared about tic tac toe. You could have like different skins or like chess. Like you could have different skins for your chess pieces that are tradable. I don't know.
Yeah, but it feels very forced, that sort
Yeah,
of thing, right? Like, I agree that cosmetics are a great place for it, and it's great social proof. But I see a lot in this space. They'll be like, "Oh, we'll make a cosmetic NFT set for this game that it doesn't fit," and it's kind of cart before the horse.
yeah,
Those cosmetics have value because people care about the game.
yeah,
10 years ago in Fortnite, when you got a John Wick skin, that was like cool. You got to the end of a season 3 battle pass. But now it has social value because people are still playing Fortnite 10 years later, and that's a symbol of an OG. So the underlying game for cosmetic NFTs has to be sort of successful first. It has to have some sort of cultural cachet with its players. Those things have to mean something. And if you're launching with a cosmetic like battle pass skin that are NFTs and you're saying they're going to be worth money as well, I very much look strongly askance at that. I basically think that's just like a scam
yeah.
essentially because it's or at very least a very poor understanding of how these cosmetics end up being perceived valuable by the users.
Yeah, it's hard to get people to like care about, especially in the Web3 space. It's a problem that even Sunflower Land is. Some people have brought up like they want people to collect stuff for the sake of collecting stuff, but it's like how do you get
Hmm.
your players to want to do that when a lot of things have value because they have benefits in the game. So like how do you get people to care
Yeah.
about things that don't have direct benefit in the game? And it's a difficult game. It's a difficult thing to do to get like players almost like change their mindset.
That sort of thing should happen naturally. I mean, I've seen it happening to myself over the course of 3 weeks,
Yeah.
4 weeks just playing the game. When I first joined Sunflower Land, I looked at all these cosmetics. I'm like, cool, they look great, but I don't really care. But now that I'm socially interacting with a bunch of other farmers and I see that they look cool, I'm like, well, I kind of want to get out of the beginner skin myself as well now. Like, get a nice looking background, get a nice looking island. So that's where that comes from is that longevity and that the fact that I'm putting time into it and that there's now social systems happening as well.
Yeah.
And that needs to be managed as well because it can be you know, quite oppressive. To go back to the Fortnite example, you started to see kids stealing their parents' credit cards because they needed to buy the battle pass and things like that because there was that much social pressure on looking cool. It's actually started to matter socially outside of the context of the game.
Yeah. Okay, so the Bieber has a chat question in the chat. He says, "Have you thought about any new mechanics for Sunflowerland? I know you've been working on the new login system and some other
Hmm.
things. Like, is there anything you can or want to talk about at all regarding that?"
Yeah, I've been pitching a few. We'll see what survives the production process. I would very much like a prestige system, as I see that a lot of players are starting to gravitate towards top level. So I know that the islands have previously been called the prestige system, but I mean like a
Yeah,
levels
yeah.
prestige,
So when you get to max
where you,
level 200 or
yeah,
whatever, then something happens.
yeah, you might drop back down to zero. You might progress through the islands again if you want to do that. It might be quite a demand. But at the same time, I was looking at the sort of experience and resources that the top players have, and they could blow through the game 3 times over if I reset them right now. If I just press the button and
Yeah,
press zero, so
yeah.
keeping things going.
I'm super curious
Not
about
only
how that would work. Like there's so many questions about how like would you lose all your skill? Like obviously this is still super early on in terms of planning and whatnot, but like would you
yeah,
lose all your skills? Like how would it work
yes,
with like the daily login system that like scales on player level? Like
yeah. So probably, I think you would keep your login system scale as like a prestige value. So you'd be one brackets 201 essentially in the back end for levels for prestiging. But the skills, I think you would probably reset to zero, but you would start with 10 skill points for each prestige you have done. And that would be a way to, like, after you've done a couple, finally actually have all of the skills as well, because I know that you can't quite get all the skills. That's one way I was considering it working. I know that another beta tester and OG tourist also suggested looking at the Diablo Paragon system. So that's a different approach to it. That's a bit more hectic systems design. Like it's quite a bit of uh, like design engineering to make a Paragon system style, but it could fit. It just depends on the proportion of users that would be engaging with it. Because in Diablo, that's sort of intended for almost everyone, like the hardcore players, to be ending up in their Paragon levels. Whereas I think the current level distribution of Sunflowerland players is it's like a normal distribution
yeah.
at the moment,
Yeah, like
or it's actually right skewed. Yeah,
yeah, I played Diablo. I played Diablo 3 like 10 years ago whenever it came out, and I played Diablo 4 for the first couple of seasons when it came out. And from my understanding, Paragon system is like it's not like it. You get your regular level 1 to 50, 1 to 60, whatever it is, and those you put in
yeah,
your skills. And then the Paragon system is like a completely separate set of basically skills. Like it's like it's an extra skill tree almost, right? Like it would be
yeah. And they sort of treat level 1 to X. I think it's 50, 60. Um, like that's the tutorial basically, and then you
yeah.
start doing your Paragon stuff. You start sort of playing Path of Exile inside Diablo.
Yeah, I mean, yeah. I've
Yeah.
been playing a ton of Path of Exile. But so if it wasn't that and it was reverting to level 1, would level 1 be the same amount of experience in Paragon or sorry, in Prestige 1 or Prestige 2 than it was for the original levels like 1, 2, 3? Because yeah, like you said, people would just like Tourist, for example, he would hit level 200 again, like he would be already level
Yeah.
200 for
But
second
then you can
Prestige.
prestige again,
Yeah.
like and again
Yeah.
would be the goal. We could add an increased modifier to level on 200, but I'm sort of wary of making just because I've just added an exponential curve to the levels 150 to 200. I'm worried of stacking an exponent on an exponent,
Yeah.
and then like just yeah, prestige would be impossible. We would start having to add outsized experience end game sources, which would shift the economy and shift the gameplay experience. Like I know that pizzas and other builds, I think like the lemon cake build, or someone was telling me about it, are like primary XP sources, and we'd be adding um, experience sources to compensate that would be several like powers higher than that, and that would be quite unbalancing, I think.
Yeah.
So I would say probably we will, if we go down the simple prestige route, we will just allow them to prestige infinite times through the level curve and rely on the natural linear progression to see them sort of level up a lot in the first 100 odd levels and then naturally slow down towards the end, but still have that sort of tapered spike and fall level progression.
And I think it was in the last dev chat, you spoke about how if instead of a prestige system, if they just made it to go to level 999 or whatever, then you thought that the level 999 would feel more like a infinite grind, but wouldn't like an actual infinite grind prestige system be more of an infinite grind?
Not necessarily, because 1 to 999, 999 is a psychological stopping point, whereas an infinite prestige system is you opt in to chunks of prestige, right? You don't have to continue to prestige, whereas you'll continue passively leveling on a 1 to 999 regardless of what you're doing, which will mean that progression becomes meaningless essentially for you because you are sort of in the level 500s and you're just passively getting levels from experience bonuses or like making food and going up this exponential curve to let's say a mid game or a new user. It's quite psychologically different to like look at where you are and say, okay, my next goal is the maximum level 200, and and then when I get there, maybe I'll think about prestiging. Whereas if you were to rescale it to level up to 999 and you were to redo all the skill points to work on a progression tree that works to 999, you get in at level 3, you'd look that you got a level to 999, and more often than not, you're going to go, F that. That's way
Yeah,
too much time.
yeah,
It just doesn't suit the kind of game it is. Like, infinite or near infinite grinds, like level 999 grinds, they can work different kinds of game. As I was saying, like in like a game like RuneScape, where you're grinding all your skills to 99 and you sort of have the game open on the second monitor all the time, and you get into this rhythmic, like just constantly intaking experience at an optimal route growth. That can work, but because Sunflower Land, you log in, like I say, on this like long loop, whether it's 1 hour or 2 hours, and you consume experience and you progress in spikes, you want to be getting a reward for progressing in spikes like meaningfully every now and again.
yeah,
Whereas if you're on a level 99 system to that, like that, then actually progressing a level would have almost no meaning. It almost like it's losing meaning going up to 200 now
yeah,
a little bit. It's not unmanageable essentially.
yeah.
Um, yeah, it's not like an exact science.
No,
You
yeah,
could do it that way. We would have to reconfigure some systems to make sense in that context. I personally feel essentially that the prestige system will feel better to interact with across the board for most players rather than an infinite grind system.
yeah. That's fair. Um, so you talked about like Path of Exile and talked about Diablo, and you said I think on the original dev chat you had mentioned that sunk a ton of hours into what Dota or something. I think you said.
Yeah, I've played Dota competitively for like 10
So
years.
what would you say your top three most played games of all time are?
Most players definitely Dota, Counter Strike, and World of Warcraft.
Okay, so pretty competitive games.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. Okay, I mean World of Warcraft is one of mine too, definitely. I played a ton of that
My
like
top,
in the
yeah.
early aughts.
My top games as a game designer are like Outer Wilds, Disco Elysium, and actually Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 2. Um,
And you say as a
played a
game
ton of
designer,
that.
just what like you just appreciate how they designed it, or
Yes, yes, absolutely. Like I just think those are, well, the first two are works of art, and the third one is like me being 8 years old when I played it. I don't think it's a work of art, but it just good, clean fun. Tony Hawk's
yeah.
Pro Skater 2. Yeah.
I think I played four. I think I was super into Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 4, I believe. I could be wrong about that,
Mm.
but I don't know. It's so long ago. I think I had it on like GameCube or something. Um, um. So, do you know exactly what your role at Sunflower Land is going to be long term? Like, are you going to be mostly focused on Sunflower Land? Is it going to be mostly for Project Two? Um.
I'm going to be mostly focused on Project 2,
Okay.
but I will be like working on game design on Sunflower Land as well. It's going to be, I believe Adam has said it's like maybe 70-30 Project 2 Sunflower Land split. Um, and I know that fingers crossed everything's going well. I know that the team is looking to expand and keep growing. So I wouldn't be surprised if I end up overseeing a slightly more junior designer who would be more dedicated to Sunflower Land.
And do you like? I assume you're. It seems you're mostly focused on Sunflower Land right now, right? Like, do you know at what point
Absolutely.
like it's going to be moving over towards more or like to more towards more Project Two?
So I'm currently working on like laying down base foundations and prototypes for Project Two, and once Adam, if I'm just started, if he's happy with my work, essentially, if I'm
Yeah.
still here in 3 months, then at that point, or 2 months, I might start to shift my focus a little bit more. But I think it's really good right now for me to mostly focus on Sunflower Land and just build those prototypes, so I can understand the community and I can understand the game as it is and how it's grown as well.
Yeah. The Beaver asked in chat, Project 2 will be like Axie or which game? It'll be like a monster collector type of game. We don't really know much about it yet, but that's what they've
Yeah.
been like talking about so far.
Definitely going to have some creature collecting, and definitely going to have battling other players, PvP, as a core system, and then definitely going to have some creature like breeding element as well. Those are the things that I am like 99.9% confident in as features that I think fit really well for this kind of project.
Uh, so like this is kind of like two-part question, but like, so why do you think there are so many gaming studios that are coming out of Australia? Like you came from Gods Unchained, obviously, which is owned by Immutable, which also owns Guild of Guardians, and then there's obviously Sunflower Land, Illuvium, Step
Mm.
In, and those are just the ones I know of. And like it's kind of the second part is like you talk about like we're talking about like Project Two capturing. Illuvium is also a game where there's like capturing. Do you think there would be any similarities to the way you capture monsters in Project 2 versus Illuvium? Like, is it going to be a set number of monsters and those are actually tradable? Like, how would you envision it at all?
Um, I have some very spicy mechanics that I'm planning for Project Two that players might not like. We'll see how they react to it when I come out. That will be quite different from Illuvium. I'm thinking that, and if the creatures have an age and can actually sort of like age out and start to lose stats later in their life,
Okay.
so that way we can get around the problem that a lot of games have of where like the numbers start to infinitely inflate, or you have to put a scarcity cap on things, like
I think
Final
it's
City.
fine as long as people know about it going in.
Yes. I see the Biber asks if we will have a GitHub. Yeah, we'll be building in public as well. So you'll be able to see it as we go and weigh in there. Why are there so many gaming studios coming out of Australia? I think there's a few good things going for us. We have a good university system for games here. It ebbs and flows, but like a lot of our top flight unis, which are pretty good unis globally, like they rank quite well, have reasonably strong games and computer science programs. And then the government support for the sector, especially in Victoria, has been historically very strong and is increasing, especially under our current government, which funds the arts a little bit more. So there are like tax breaks for externals investing in studios and things like that. And then, you know, Immutable is just one part of the ecosystem, but I do think it's fair to say that like they got a significant amount of foreign investment, and that sort of flowed on to some parts of the industry as well. But for Thought Farm specifically, from what I can see, I'm just going to attribute that to Craig, Adam, and Spencer being absolute guns. Because to me, it seems like they really just did it on their own, in
Yeah.
their own way, and they happened to be from Australia. They could have been from anywhere, but they happened to be here, and they were successful. So there's like this ecosystem, but Thought Farm seems to have just done it like pretty much, yeah, under their own
Yeah, I
steam,
don't think
which
they
is
had any funding.
yeah, exactly that, which is just incredible. And I think that's as well as what has allowed them to stay really true to their core vision and to build this out as a game and not put in a lot of those things that we were talking about before that, sort of initially create value, but maybe are a little bit damaging to the game in the long run.
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely one of the best things going for Sunflower Land that Adam has like full control over what he wants in the game, and he doesn't have to listen to any pressures from someone who put in $1 million or whatever, you know.
Yeah,
Um,
exactly. Yeah, it's a very enviable, but also pretty tough, I think, position to be in.
Definitely.
Uh, I should maybe get him like the buck stops here to put on his desk or something
Yeah,
like that,
but
like his Teddy
it's
Roosevelt.
I obviously don't know all the financials, but like it seems like it's doing pretty well. Like between like the sales like on the buds a couple years ago and just like the trading volume in the marketplace, and it seems like they're pretty well funded. Like I know that like other companies, I know like a lot of companies have been like going under recently, especially in the Web3 space. But
Yeah.
like I said, I don't know the full funding, but it sounds like they're in a pretty good spot.
Well, they could afford to bring me on, and
Yeah,
that to me is a good sign. So I'm not across the financials either, and I wouldn't speak of them. That's Adam's business. But like they're looking to continue expanding, and the attitude and the atmosphere in the office, or rather, when the co-working space we've been there, is really positive. So I'd say currently, it seems to me like things are going very well, and look to continue to do so.
yeah. So Bieber asks about your other project, Dungeon
Oh,
Breakers.
my indie game. That's very nice of you. Yeah, I try not to talk about this when I'm on other people's streams or whatnot
Sure, I mean,
because
but
I
I
don't
mean,
like
go ahead.
spooky
Like,
myself.
do you work on it like on the weekends, like on after you're
Yeah, pretty
done
much.
Sunflower Land?
Yeah, yeah. So yes, so I do have a. It's a Paper Mario plus Rabbids is a very good call out of the mix of influences. Indie game that I'm working on with my own team with some friends that I knew from uni back in the day. Um, I'm going to continue working on it. I like to finish what I start, and it's certainly like a passion project, but it's a very high scope. Like we're five people trying to make an RPG.
Yeah.
We've been lucky enough there to get some government funding, and that sort of kept us going for a while, but not enough to sort of go full time and do it. And realistically speaking, unless we were to self-publish the game, which we're talking about doing, financially, that game probably wouldn't start a studio off its back unless we were to be very successful. So we're going to keep building it out, and we'll release it eventually. But we want to make like 30 hours of gameplay for an RPG with five people. Um, so it's unlike maybe Sandfall Interactive with 10 million, we've got about $10 to our name to make an indie RPG. So it's going to take us a bit more time.
That's fair. Have you had a chance to check out any like the third party tools around Sunflower Land yet?
I'm a big fan. I've just got jumped in straight into sunflower.world,
SFL
SFL.world.
World.
That, yeah, is super useful because what I first wanted to do was just like understand the economy, understand the math behind the game, and I was like, oh, this is awesome. It's just economic analysis 101.
I'm gonna pull up your farm in SFL World.
Rank 1 million or something.
Yeah, I mean the rankings aren't fully up to date. Like if you aren't in the top 100, your farm will show up on SF
Yeah.
on the rankings. So yeah, like SFL World is like the number one tool, obviously.
Hmm.
There's others though. There's one of the mods in Discord. His name is Lucas, and he makes this. He has like two things. It's like he has like a spreadsheet, but he's also working on like a website now that is basically like the spreadsheet on a website. It's called Combo Maker. I'm pulling that up on stream as well.
Okay.
And you just type in your farm number here, and it also does a lot of the calculations, and it pulls up like your skills and whatever you have. The problem with SFL World, it's obviously amazing, and Andre is fantastic, but the problem with it is a lot of the calculations are based on the in-game flower to coin ratio, which like if you open up the game and go like
Yeah.
exchange coins, it's like I forget what this 320, I think it is 320 coins to
One.
one flower. But what you
Yeah.
can do is like you could go on the marketplace and buy like bananas or oranges or whatever it is and sell it at Betty's shop over here.
Yeah.
And and
Arbitrage. Yeah.
and yeah, like the actual ratio, like if you is this like 1200 to 1. So because it's so much different than the 320 to 1, a lot of these like calculations on the boost page are like quite off.
Mhm.
So that's where like a tool like Lucas's spreadsheet comes in. This one is updated. You can put in the the ratio you want here, like 1200, save it here, and then it like based on that, it'll change. It'll drastically change the calculations because the ratio in game is so far off of what you can get in the marketplace. Um, But yeah, like you've messed around on SFL World. You've like checked out all the different or like a lot of the different tabs and whatnot, and
Yeah, I have to check this out as well.
yeah. And then there's also the wiki that I think Spank has worked a lot on.
Yes, definitely have been going to the wiki as I start to progress and trying to figure out how to fulfill these deliveries and whatnot.
Yeah, this the wiki stuff is like all pretty new. Like I don't know exactly when, like 12 months ago, 2 months ago. Sorry, like yeah, like in the grand scheme
Oh
of
wow.
Sunflower Land, like it's been around for like 4 years, right? This wiki's like within the past couple of months of really being used or being set up. But yeah, can I send the link for the site? Which site are you talking about Bandit? Yeah, and then my other question was about your previous work, Gonz and Chain. Like, are there any like features that you were like especially proud of from working on there? Like any specific cards or sets or I don't know
Hmm.
anything?
I think the best set we did was the Band of the Wolf set. So people who play GU know what I'm talking about here, but it was a set where I got a lot of creative control. The art was really good, and we were telling a story. And I felt like the design goals we had for it, which was to push tribal synergies. If anyone knows card games, that's like, you have a card that's a Viking and another card that's a Viking, making them work together to provide multiplicative value. Um, that was the goal of the set, and we really achieved that without like massively upsetting the power balance. The game suffered a little bit from power creep, especially towards the end, under the conditions we were working under. But that one I felt was like a much fairer level of power creep than came on. So I was really proud of that set. It's probably the best piece of game content I've built in my career so far, and it sort of showed in the meta. Like the meta didn't get stale for 4 months, 5 months, which is a very long time for a card game, especially one that was being played as enthusiastically as that one.
Yeah, like
Uh,
it must have been hard, especially like if you played Hearthstone, it doesn't really matter as much if your cards got worse over time, I guess, because like
yes.
they're just you can't resell them. They're just something you have in your account. But
Yeah.
it matters more for a game like Gods Unchained or even like Magic the Gathering, because like they're
Yeah.
actual things you have and like have value in real life.
Yeah, that was something that I was proud of on GU. That it wasn't a feature or anything. It's just that I stopped post-release balancing stuff. I instigated a balance team, and we would pre-release balance the cards. We used to do like 12 patches. People's cards would change every week after a release.
Yeah,
And it was just insane. Like people were very unhappy, and even if the meta got better, people would still leave. But yeah, when I was there, I really pushed for like get a group of really good players, beta test everything, go through 12 weeks of pre-release balancing, maybe do one or two patches at most post-release, because players will always find something, and just hit the worst offenders at that point rather than constantly upsetting the meta.
yeah,
Um,
that makes
that was
sense.
something that yeah made a lot of sense to me.
Yeah, like I've been playing a lot of Path of Exile. Like I've played Path of Exile
Mm,
for the past 12 years, and a new Path of Exile 2 league just came out over the weekend. And one thing that the devs there have said that they don't want to do is like mid league nerfs,
yeah.
and they did mid league nerfs over the weekend, and like one of the builds I was playing got hit by it, and it's just like that kind of sucks.
It just sucks, doesn't it? It's just a bitter taste in your
Yeah,
mouth. Let it run, to be honest. I'd just say if it dominates the league, it dominates the league.
yeah,
You know,
especially in early.
that
Path of Exile 2 is in early access right now, so it like really doesn't matter. Like everything's gonna be broken. It's like let my build be broken.
that attitude for me comes from the years of playing Dota, where sometimes it's just like, yep, this one character, this one hero, he's busted. You have to ban him every game.
Yeah,
If you get him, you're probably going to lose, or if you win, if you're going to get him. You just
that,
sort of accept that sort of thing, and then it sucks maybe a little bit, but I still talk about those meta games with friends I used to play with. Of like, you remember when Phantom Lancer was completely busted? And it's just a feature of the game a lot of the
yeah,
time. Game designers can be very, very reactive. They can think, oh, this isn't the experience I intended. And, it's emotionally volatile for the players. It doesn't necessarily mean it's actually bad. Like,
no,
if people are on and they're sort of grumbling a bit about the game, but they're playing every day, then it's probably fine. Versus if everyone's going, it's fine, but your retention numbers are dropping, then you've got a problem.
yeah.
Like, Balance.
It's going to be a situation by situation thing, right? Like it's going to depend on, is the game a super competitive game, and like how much does it influence the game? Like if there was like if it go back to Dota 2, if you couldn't ban a hero and then there was one hero that like you had to play every time, then it would be like, okay, well that sucks. Like,
Yes.
but because you could ban it, then like that kind of evens things out, right? So it depends on how the game's made. There's so many different factors that play a role in terms of like needing to do nerfs mid league or mid season or whatever it is after something's released. Um, yeah, but
Yeah,
that's
to bring
good that
back
you were able
line.
to achieve something that like where people probably seemed happier about the state of things, because I played Gods Unchained like probably like a couple years ago, and I definitely remember what you were talking about where everything was like getting nerfed and after it came out, and I was just like, this is so hard to keep up with like the meta, just because like I had this deck that worked and then it changed because like some of the cards don't work anymore, you know? So
Terrible.
um well, that was basically all the topics I had. Did you have anything you wanted to talk about that I didn't mention? Did you have any questions for me about the community or the game or anything like that? Or
Uh, Great question, actually. I mean, understanding the community is sort of my job. So, what's your view on the community?
I mean, that's a pretty broad question. Um,
Yeah, take it however you want.
um, I think so. I'll talk recently. Recently, there were changes to things like the deliveries and chores and whatnot, and which made them more difficult. For example, if I open up my deliveries for the day, Miranda here is asking for a giant orange, and I don't know why I closed that. If I go to the bounties, there's giant oranges being asked for here, and you may or may not know these giant oranges require help from other players, or you can
Mm.
use obsidian, which you obtain on Volcano Island, um, to speed up. This is just an example, like it's not specific, but a lot of feedback recently has been that the game has been getting more difficult, but I don't know if that's a good or a bad thing. The reason why I say that
Yeah.
is because a lot of people have also been complaining about um, resource prices going down, and one way to burn more resources is to make the game more demanding. And I think um, sentiment for a long time was that people were completing every single chore, every single delivery, every single bounty to go for the top items in the auctions. And I think that it would, I think it could be okay if sentiment changed around that, so that you don't necessarily like the top players don't do everything, or like not as many top players do everything, and then it's maybe easier to get um, these items without completing everything. Anyways, my point is just that like people have been a lot of people have been complaining about the difficulty increase recently, and what do you think? Is that a good or a bad thing? Like, is this just a thing that the devs like you need to set expectations for, that things are changing, or like because like there is also, like I said, feedback about prices going down on resources and whatnot. So
Yeah.
like it's a difficult game to balance, right? Like
Well, yeah. So, resource price, resource inflation, which is going to lead to resource price
yes,
decrease, is almost an inevitability in a game like this, right? Like, you are playing for a longer amount of time. There is more more faucets currently than there are sinks for these resources. So, although there are caps and there are some burn and there are some ways to centralize them, it's going to happen. So the way to combat that is to just continue to add sinks and to add new resources in a different part of the chain, like a separate resource chain, that can sort of be more relevant for the future content as well. I mean, you can see that in many, many other games that do these things. They add like a new type of thing that is sourced from a new type of resource that requires the previous resources to get that new resource as well, and
yeah.
that
We kind of have
creates
that with like
synergy.
obsidian, like that the
Yes.
obsidian lava pits. These were added. Uh, I guess this would be back in February, but like the resources within the lava pits that you use to make the obsidian, this has changed at least two or three times at this point, to keep up with demand and different factors, different game changes, you know?
So one of my proposals on Gods Unchained and the system that I think might work here would be a generic resource sink, something that can eat anything, but requires quite a lot of it, and that encourages top players who need to fulfill that thing to sweep the floor of the market essentially, and sort of take a look at all of the assets that they have available to them and just go through the lower levels. That could be something that works. It just obviously would need a system built around it as well. And it needs to be a mechanic that's fun. Like I was thinking thematically, like a trash pig that you just feed everything that gets really fat and then you can use it as chum. Would be interesting. Maybe a little bit brutal for Sunflower Land, something like that. That's one way to approach it. On the topic of difficulty and like sort of increasing the difficulty to increase sinks, I see Sunflower Land as ultimately this like sort of calming, chill game that at its best doesn't demand too much of your time. And if you're a hardcore player, even then you're still setting timers and logging in every like
Yeah, like when I say difficulty, I'm not talking about like this game isn't a difficult game. Like it's not Counter Strike, it's not Dota. Resource demanding.
It's resource demands, and that's legitimate kind of difficulty.
Yeah,
I'm not saying it's not difficult. What I'm saying is that is one way to increase difficulties, but another way is to maybe go in a different direction for a little bit, or to loop back into the core of what is really satisfying about Sunflower Land, to double down on the passive farming elements and things like that, and build out mechanics that way as well. So that might be the way I'm going to explore, like rather than making a new area with a new resource, a new sink, a new mini games that you have to do or something like that. Finding new ways to add things to the farming experience, the core farming experience, that fulfill these needs that you have. Oh, you get to try out the new daily reward system.
I try not to show off beta stuff in stream, you know.
I'm about to make a post about that, so you can show that one.
Yeah, I mean, okay, I'll refresh, or no, I guess I don't have to refresh. I just go into the rewards section. Yeah, they updated the rewards here for the daily login. You don't need to use gas anymore to claim it, and they have new things here. Like some of these things will be familiar, like the love box or whatnot, but today I get the XP day, and the XP is based on your level. So higher level people will get more experience, lower level people would get less. So I'm currently at
lower level people will get more experience relative to the level they need.
Yeah.
So if you're level 25, you'll be getting like 40% of the experience you need.
Yeah, which it wouldn't be that much in the grand scheme of things. Like if you look at the Bumpkin XP, like a level 40 person. Or I don't remember what number you said, but even a level 40 so a level 40 person only needs 38,000 experience level, so they might get like 10,000 or 20,000 or something. Whereas I'm max level, so there's no actual number, but I need 2 million experience to level, and I will not be getting a million experience here. I'm going to get 195,000, which sounds like a lot, but once you have all the boosts and whatnot, a lemon cheesecake gives you about 100,000. So it's about 2 lemon cheesecakes, which takes me about a day to make. So it's not like it's a game-breaking amount of experience. It's a lot. It's a lot more than we used to get from the daily chest, but it's still not like, oh my god, I don't need to cook anymore because I get 200,000 experience a week.
Yeah, the goal with that is just give you a little something to keep you going. If you're choking out on resources, it's a lot less relevant to someone in your position at the end game, essentially, and that's by design.
Yeah.
But in that 20 to 50 range where the resource demands start to increase, what I'm hoping is that giving people a little forward push on their experience growth, constantly keeping them progressing, will encourage them to stick around a little bit longer and get over that hump and increase retention. Not that retention is bad, by the way. I'm doing a lot of talking about retention, but some of the retention numbers are actually very, very good. We're just seeing if we can make them even better.
Yeah, I mean that's always the goal, right?
Yeah.
You want to incentivize people to play without hurting the economy at the same time.
Yes.
And hopefully by making people more active and more engaged, that will actually help the economy. That's probably the goal overall.
Exactly.
The Beaver says the XP buff is way too much. It's easy to stay up to level 150 now. It used to be very difficult. Well, the reason for that is just the cadence at which new levels have come out has slowed down. I couldn't tell you exactly when level 100 came out, but 125 came out like 11 months ago, and then
Mhm.
150 came out 7 months ago. So there was only 4 months between level 120 and 125, and now there's been 7 months since 150, or sorry, 125 and 150, whatever. The last level increase has been 7 months, so that's why so many people are at max level. It's just been so long since we've had more levels, but as we talked about earlier, it sounds like we're going to be getting the prestige the system sounds like it might be a ways off, but it sounds like we might be getting level 200 soon-ish.
Yeah, so the XP table for that is done. It's when it gets to implementation, basically for level 200, and that will be a bit more difficult than previously because the XP is now on a function rather than handset curve. So it's
Do you,
1.05 exponent of the previous value.
do you foresee redoing all the levels, or do you only plan on these experience changes being for like 150 to 200?
I don't think I will redo all of them just for the simple fact that I don't see a reason to go and kick over all of the experience in the game. The game already functioned. So I'm not sure what I would gain and what the game would gain by redoing the experience curve.
Yeah, you could be right. I hadn't really thought of it one way or the other. I just
Hmm.
know that you're talking about doing level 150 to 200 slightly different than level 1 to 100 has been done in the past. So I didn't know if you wanted to like keep it consistent or
It might be worth consistency is valuable. It might be worth doing that. But at the same time, like I said, the retention numbers are already pretty good. If I change too much at once and something goes wrong and people don't like it and they start leaving, I've got to be able to tell what the change was
for
I
sure.
made that actually
Yeah,
caused that to happen.
yeah, you don't want to do too many things at once because it's hard
Yeah,
to too many variables leads to difficult
exactly.
data to comprehend.
Yeah, bad science, basically.
Exactly. Yeah, it's like you don't break
Uh,
two laws at once.
yes. All right. Nice. It is 11 o'clock. I have to get back to providing value, and
Sounds
I'm going to
good.
be posting a daily reward. But it was great to chat to you.
Yeah, you too, man. I'm glad you're with us. I've been here since literally day one. I was the fourth person in the
Nice.
Discord. So I'm glad you're here. You sound like you have a good head on your shoulders, and you've already like um, provided some good feedback and good ideas towards the game. So I'm excited to see what you can do over the next however long you're here.
Yeah, let's get cooking on Project 2 and keep punching up Sunflower Land to be the best it can be.
Sounds good.
All right.
Thank you for
Catch
the
ya.
time. I will
Yeah, no
talk to
problem.
you
Anytime.
later.
Bye.
Have a good day. Okay, so that was Bryn, aka Jammy. Good chat. Good chat. Um, gonna just feed my cows here using OmniFeed because it's much cheaper than mixed grain. So I hope you guys enjoyed that. I haven't been posting as many videos recently because there hasn't been as many updates recently. A lot of stuff going on behind the scenes that the devs are working on, getting ready for the next chapter and whatnot. And the holidays coming up. I'm sure we'll be getting a bunch of updates in January/February for the new chapter. But since Bryn was a new team member, and I asked him if he would want to have that chat, and hopefully it was beneficial for everyone. But yeah, that's basically it for me for today. Um, so thanks for hanging out, everyone. And yeah, until next time, have a good day.